Hey, it's Mr. Johns. Welcome to this edition of Grizz Tech, where we talk about technology projects done in technology classes like mine. And we have a new one this year that hasn't been done before in my classroom, and that's building a Warbird Whirligig. Right? Warbird Whirligig. Now, a Warbird is an airplane from the World War II era, and a whirligig is something that spins in the wind. So sometimes whirligigs are kind of goofy, funny little golfers, or I don't know, uh, goofy little funny things that spin in the wind, which maybe your grandpa would build and put outside in his backyard. And some of them are pretty cool, but I wanted, if we're going to do it, I wanted something really cool. And so I found some blueprints, and that's what we're looking at right here is the blueprints for a P51 Mustang, my favorite Warbird. And these are the plans that I've resized to something that we could manage in my classroom. And I'll put the link to these blueprints below this video. And ideally, you're going to use like a 1/4 inch or 3/4 inch plywood that it would be weatherproofed and good for outdoor weather. But in my case, that's pretty expensive when you have a whole bunch of class, whole bunch of students. And so I went with what I had, which wasn't cheap either, but it was something I already had, and that was 1/8 inch hardwood for laser engraving. So, which I wasn't going to get around to doing this year anyway. So there's this is actually a little thicker than the wood that I ended up using in my classroom. This is something I had at home, and here's the blueprint after I cut it out and walked all over it several times. But you basically cut out the airplane and the wing templates and trace it onto whatever wood you plan to use. Ideally, the tail and the wings will be drawn as one solid piece to give them strength. And so you want to find a big enough piece of wood that you can make your wing and tail one piece, so you don't have to reinforce them or worry about them flopping around or falling apart. So what we have here is my airplane after I had glued the tail and wings into the fuselage or the body, and it's important to drill those slots at the same width as your wings and tail. So the best way to do that is to drill a hole with a drill bit that will allow you to get in there with a jigsaw and cut from the top and the bottom of those holes until that slot falls out. And ideally, like all cuts, you want to be able to fit that wing and tail through the slot and not even really need glue because it's such a tight fit. But then you go ahead and reinforce it with some waterproof outdoor wood glue. And so you can see that I've decided to paint the machine, the Warbird, silver, and made one mistake here that I'll share here in a second. The next step was to then paint the tip of the nose and the tail and the wings red. Now really, I should have done it the other way around. I should have painted the red first, let it dry 24 hours, and then all I would have had to have done is masked off the little red parts. But instead, I painted it all silver, and then I had to mask off everything that was silver, which was the majority of the airplane. So either one results in the same thing, but there would have been less paper and less masking had I done it the other way. Also, this is a good chance to look at the tip of the nose of the Mustang here to give it some width. You trace the shape of the nose and make two, and just the tip here. You make two of those, and then you glue them together. Put a clamp on there, let them dry, and then you drill a hole down the center for the axle. Now, initially, I was going to go with a wooden dowel, and which I thought would be fine, and it would have been fine, but I ended up changing my mind on that down the road. So next up, we have kind of the almost finished product, And this is based on a historical aircraft, and so one thing you can do is look up real pictures of Mustangs and pick one that catches your attention. I ended up not going exactly historically accurate, so the number of the plane doesn't actually match this particular paint scheme, and I haven't yet put an airplane name up near the nose. But you'll see I've got my pilot name right here underneath. You can barely see that. It says B. Johns, and the cockpit has been painted kind of a bluish white. And we've got the squadron number, which is 10. And typically there's also a plane number on the other side of the country symbol. But in this particular one that I found, it didn't have, it just had 10 and no airplane number. But this is the U.S. Air Force logo. And so I still have to put a few things on, some identification number on the tail and things like that. So what I did was make the propeller out of 1x4, and it's actually, if you look at my yardstick there, it's actually just a little bit more than 3.5 inches wide. And so I want the width to be the same as the length. And so I'm making a perfect square out of, again, whatever wood you have, but I want this hub to be a little bit thicker because it has to fit the propellers. And so this is 1x4. So if you go to the store and buy a 1x4, it won't actually be 1x4. It will be slightly less than that, but it'll work perfect for this project. And then I take a ruler and go corner to corner, and that will give you the center point. So I do an X corner to corner, and then I drew in, I think 3/4 of an inch from each side on 4 sides, because I want 4 propellers, and that's where I want them. And then this part was kind of fun. You take your bandsaw and you adjust the table. I went as sharp as I could so that my wood, that 1x4 would still fit through there. I don't know what angle that is, if it's looks like 50 or so degrees, 50 to 60 degrees, I don't know. It didn't matter so much, but that angle is important. That's what's going to hold those propellers at an angle to catch the wind, which you'll see here shortly. So I cut basically 2 widths of the blade, maybe 3, whatever width you're using for your propellers. And again, I'm using the same wood. It's the same 1/8 inch, pretty thin hardwood. And so I want them again to be snug. Ideally, the propellers would fit in each slot and I wouldn't need glue, but of course then you reinforce it with some weatherproof glue. So I just grabbed a spray can, looking for something round in my shop, and that was the closest thing I had to me. It turns out it wasn't exactly round. I should have flipped it over and used the top of the cap, not the bottom, because the bottom gets squished over time, and I hadn't really thought about that. So I ended up with a circle that wasn't quite perfectly round. But then I flattened the table on the bandsaw again and carefully followed that line all the way around to make my circle. And that's what it looks like when you're done. And then you drill a hole in the middle of the hub, just a little bit bigger than whatever your axle is going to, or propeller shaft is going to be. And so there you have the finished hub and the all the parts you need. And here's where I decided to switch from a dowel to a metal axle, again because I have them. And then I also have washers and little axle clips, which was the perfect solution. And then here are the 4 propellers cut out of that 1/8 hardwood. The axle clips go right on the end of the axle and prevent the propeller from falling off, which was ideal. Otherwise, you'll have to make some kind of cap or glue some kind of end to a dowel. And then we need a way for the airplane to sit on a post or a dowel. And so I just took scrap 2x4 and I cut a slot almost all the way through. And I didn't really care how big it was, but it needed to be safe for me to cut on a chop saw. And so this is probably 2.5 inches wide. And then I'm gonna do a cut all the way through right here, and that makes kind of a base, and then I flipped, put it into a vise, and used a half-inch bit to drill a hole that goes all the way through. And be careful here; it can break in half pretty easily. I broke several of them until I got it right. So you might want to do a pilot hole first with a small drill bit, and then work up to a half-inch or slightly bigger than whatever dowel size you're going to use. So I printed off some various graphics, including what doesn't show here is also some letters and my name for the pilot. And then I applied that with a little bit of Elmer's glue and then 4 coats of clear coat sealer. And we'll see how it weathers outside. But for right now, it looks pretty cool. And there is the finished product. Tail number, the country number, country symbol. And then also I didn't have any other pictures of these, but I made a little exhaust cowling, and that is just a small rectangle of the wood with some holes drilled in it and some doweling painted silver that look like exhaust pipes. Now I should have actually had one more exhaust pipe on both sides, but I ran out of room. I cut the rectangle too short. So I should have had 6 cylinders on both sides for a 12-cylinder, I believe, Rolls-Royce engine, but I only put in 5 exhausts on both sides. Small detail that no one will notice but me, but I was happy with how that looked, and the propeller spins very nice. I took the axle and put it in a drill, battery-operated drill, and some old sandpaper, and just sanded it smooth until that axle was really shiny and looked pretty good. And here's what it looks like in motion. This was today and almost no wind outside, but it still spins even with very little wind. So on a heavier wind, that's just going to keep on spinning, and it looks really cool, like the propeller is moving. So if this is something project that you'd like to tackle, pretty simple. I already have my ideas on maybe a big bomber with 2 propellers or more, which would be a pretty huge project, but super fun. So give it a try if you're looking for something to build. I know my students are excited to either put them outside in their yard or hang them from their bedroom. So it's nice to see a project that they're proud of and they don't want to just chuck in the trash can on the way out of the room. So for now, Mr. John's out.